Sometimes you have to shut up, swallow your pride, and accept that you're wrong. It's not giving up, it's called growing up. You have a tough time growing up? I know I do. The problem with growing up is that, as the picture quote of this talk clearly lays out, you have to accept that you're wrong. Nobody likes to be told that they're wrong. Nobody likes to be told that there's something wrong with how they think or how they do things. It's painful when some other people say it to you, and it's definitely uncomfortable when you come to this realization yourself. At that point, people can be counted on to do a few things. First of all, there's always denial. Have you done this? Again, I know I do it. Basically, I'd say to myself, there's really nothing wrong here. Is there even a problem? So I try to define the situation in such a way that there is no problem. Here's the thing. If there's no problem, then there's no need to change. It's like saying to an alcoholic, you have to stop drinking. Well, what if they say, well, I don't have any problems with drinking. Everybody drinks. I don't drink that much. So they define the problem away, so there's no need to act. Denial is very powerful because it operates on many different levels and it takes many different forms. In fact, in many cases, we have to really look very closely to see the denial because it's so sneaky. It's hard to pick out. It's hard to recognize. You might think that you're not even engaged in denial, but you're doing something that has the effect of denial. The next step, of course, is anger. Why do I have to change? What about other people? Why don't they change? Why don't they step up? Why don't they get their act together? It's very understandable why a lot of people go through this process because the bottom line is change is very hard to do. That's why it's really hard to come to that acceptance. The anger really stems from the fact that we feel judged. We feel that we are on the short end of the stick. Either other people give us this realization or we give it to ourselves. The situation is still the same. There has to be some sort of change. So anger is quite understandable. We get that energy release. We point the finger. We stand up and make all sorts of accusations. Well, we know that a lot of that rings hollow. Eventually, it leads back to the path to final acceptance. The question is, do you allow yourself to go down that path? Again, just like with everybody else, this is very hard to do. You see, pride is one of the most powerful forces in this universe that gets in the way of change. Pride can make black turn white. First it would look white, and then in your mind it's actually white. Pride would make up look like it's down, and eventually you would start processing it like it is down. I can go on and on. That's how powerful pride is. And ultimately, pride, if you were able to pick it apart and break it down, slice and dice it, it's really all about the unwillingness to change because you're afraid of having to let go. Pride is like the glue that holds on and holds in all the things you think you are. But here's the problem. The only thing that is constant in life is change. You know this. You've seen this happen. You know this is true. When you look at yourself in the mirror, in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, you see changes. You're not exactly the same person. Well, if this is happening outside of you, can you even imagine what's going on inside of you? So this change is terrifying. So we try to hang on. We try to make sense of our existence by trying to keep things in. And pride plays a big role in all of this. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, change is what leads us to a better place. It enables us to reach a point where we are living closer to our full potential. Is it easy? Is it comfortable? Of course not. In many cases, it's not convenient. In fact, in many cases, change only happens when an accident or a disaster enters our lives. There are many things that we would like to say that we are going to get to if we just have enough time. For example, if you have a job and you're doing your 9 to 5, there are many things that on your to-do list. But a lot of these things, in the back of your head, you're never going to get to. Why? They're the things that you should do. Deep down that they will take your life to the next level, but you just don't have the time, the focus, or the attention to get to them. So you kick the can down the road. Then one day you lose your job. Alternatively, one day your significant other leaves you. Then and only then, in that disastrous moment of uncertainty, bleakness, or despair, things start to get knocked loose. A lot of the things that you thought you could easily just get to later on when you have the time, they somehow zoom to the top of your priority list. Now you have the time to do them. The reason why this takes place is because people are actually more reactive than they care to realize. We wait until our backs are against the wall before we lift a finger on the things that we should do. Well, one of the things that we always have to attend to is pride. That there are areas in your life that you are prideful about, and that's why those things never change. You know this. I can't step into your mind and tell you the exact or specific place, but you know this. How would I know? Because it's true about me. And it's true about people I know. In the past and in the present time. Look at those places and ask yourself, do I have to wait for an emergency or some sort of disaster for me to look at how pride is robbing me of my need to change or my ability to change my situation? Because once you let go of that pride and just do what you need to do, things become possible again. It's not easy. It doesn't feel good. In many cases, you feel like a big loser. You start worrying about the things that you're letting go. In many cases, you even feel like you're being left behind. But you have to go through it. And it turns out that the doorway you go through is much better than the room you left. Right out of high school, I joined the military in the United States. For whatever reason, I just didn't make it through boot camp. For the longest time, I felt I was the biggest loser on the planet because I didn't make it through. A lot of my friends made it through. I joined the Marines. They joined the Navy. For the longest time, I would excuse my failure as, well, the Marines were more physically demanding than the Navy. I would hang on to that justification. But when I let go of my pride and accepted the fact that I didn't have what it takes to make it through the military, that's when things became possible for me. That's when I began to excel in college, and now I have a graduate degree. You have to understand that oftentimes for you to fly, you have to let go of the lead weights of pride. Because pride often pulls you back to the things that you wish happened but didn't happen. So you're stuck there. You're not pushing that dream forward because it's gone, but you're not exactly moving on with where you need to go. This is a key part of growing up. Learn to cut off pride and move on to the next chapter. If any of this made sense to you or resonated with you, please do me a big favor. Share this on Facebook, click the like button, leave a comment and share your personal story, or better yet, click the subscribe button and click on that notification bell. Thank you for your time. Until next time, be at peace, be well.